Madam Toastmaster, fellow members and guests. I don't get many opportunities to talk about myself, so I hope you find this very interesting. My full name is Mark Edwin Cowart. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and grew up in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is 30 minutes north of Atlanta. My father was born and raised in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is kind of unique. My mother moved there when she was a child. I have two older sisters. One still lives there in Alpharetta, and my parents moved up, now live in Cumming, Georgia, which is about 20 minutes north of Alpharetta, Georgia. The house we grew up in Alpharetta was 5 minutes from my grade school. And then when I was 7, we moved up the upgraded house and subdivision, moved up about 5 minutes up the street to another subdivision. Unique thing about that, I could walk to school. And when I was in grade school, I could walk or ride my bike. Then in high school, I still could walk. And then later on, I started driving or catching a ride with a friend to school. I had a very close childhood friend there when I met there when I was 7. His name's Wayne Black, and we grew up, still friends with him to this day. He has 4 kids. His kids call me Uncle Mark, and he's more like a brother than a friend. At that time, I'm not very familiar with Alpharetta, Georgia, but it's like I said, 30 minutes from Atlanta. And back then it was really country life. It still is kind of, but you had the big city close by, so you had a lot of advantages. I thought every place was like that. You had downtown Atlanta, you had the sports, Atlanta Braves, Falcons, and other events to go to. So it was really a unique growing experience. And I thought every place was like that until I moved away. My senior year in high school, my parents bought some land and bought a house on Lake Lanier, which is very similar to Lake Hartwell. And I kept going to my same high school, and but we became lake people. That's where my love of the water, fishing, bass fishing, boating really developed. And during the summer years, I lifeguarded for 4 summers at the Beach and Water Park, Lake Lanier Islands Beach and Water Park. Then I did that while I was in college. I went to college through Georgia Southern University, majored in business. Georgia Southern is about 45 minutes west of Savannah. Had a great college experience. I was in fraternity, great memories. The only bad thing about it is when I got out of college and moved back home, I had a difficult time adjusting. A lot of people did. I searched for a job. I finally found a job working at SunTrust Bank. Now it's called, I think it's still called SunTrust Bank. But I was working downtown Atlanta in the trust department. And I commuted about 35 to 40 minutes to the MARTA train system, to the train into the city downtown. Like an hour and 15-minute commute one way. And I thought, I didn't like it, to be honest with you, but I thought this was it. This is work, you had to deal with it. After a couple of years, I interviewed a lot of interviews in the bank, and finally decided to get out of it. And I just got out of the banking industry and started networking with a lot of friends. And being from Atlanta, I had a lot of friends who were working for manufacturing vendors, calling on Home Depot. And Home Depot's corporate office is in Atlanta, Georgia. So at that time, this is years ago, Depot was full of manufacturing vendors, and there's a lot of job opportunities to go there. I found one with a paint company located in Greenville, South Carolina. That paint, I worked there for 8 months, and that product got kicked out of Home Depot for performance. So I lost the job, but I had the experience. I knew I was in the right field. Then I started leapfrogging around. I got with a hardware vendor, worked there for 4 years. Then that opportunity was back here in Greenville. Then I took a promotion up to Charlotte for a year. And I wanted to get out of that field, and I changed, started targeting different companies, vendor companies at Home Depot. One company I really liked a lot was Behr Paint. I knew some of the people, and I interviewed and got hired. And the opportunity was back here in Greenville, South Carolina. So somebody was telling me to live in Greenville. A year and a half later, I bought a house here in Malden, And first 5 years of the job, I was moving around quite a bit, a lot of overnights, and then it settled down at 4 or 5 years, and with no overnights, and I got more settled, and I got plugged into a good church, and got plugged into the singles department, and that's where I met my wife. We got married in summer of 2007. Then in the December 3rd, 2009, we had our first child, a little boy, Miles Henderson Cowart, and probably the only one. But my wife's a school teacher. We both love our jobs, our family, our son, and our church. And in conclusion, that's part of my